The dining room in my parents' house in Colorado Springs looked exactly the same as I remembered. Too formal, too cold, too perfect. It felt less like a home and more like a museum exhibit of what a perfect family was supposed to look like. A crystal chandelier hung above the table. The antique cabinet shined under the lights. The porcelain plates probably cost more than most people paid for rent in a month. I sat in my usual seat, the one farthest from the head of the table, quietly watching my family perform their yearly Thanksgiving ritual, pretending we actually liked each other. My sister Victoria sat beside our mother, her perfectly manicured nails tapping lightly against her wine glass. She scanned the table like a queen inspecting her court. Victoria was older than me, and our entire lives she had made sure everyone knew she was the favorite. "Well," she finally said, cutting into her turkey with unnecessary precision, "I met with the estate attorney last week." There it was. I had been waiting for that line. Victoria had been hinting about it in the family group chat for weeks, a chat I muted years ago. "Oh," Mom asked casually, though the tone in her voice sounded rehearsed. "And what did he say?" Victoria placed her fork down slowly, clearly enjoying the moment. "The paperwork for Mom and Dad's will is finalized," she said. "Everything is updated and legally documented." My younger brother Jason looked up from his phone for the first time. "Everything?" he asked. "Everything," Victoria confirmed with a satisfied smile. She began listing it off as if she were presenting a prize collection. The house, Dad's accounting firm, the rental properties in Denver, Mom's investment portfolio, all properly distributed. I continued eating quietly. The turkey was dry. It always was. Mom had never mastered cooking it, but no one was allowed to say that out loud. Jason frowned. "So what does that mean?" Victoria's smile widened slightly. This was clearly the moment she had been waiting for. "Well," she said smoothly, "as the oldest child and the one who stayed involved in the family business, I'll be inheriting the majority. The firm, the house, and most of the rental properties." Jason shifted in his seat. "And me?" "You'll receive the remaining properties," she replied. "To rental units. They're quite valuable, actually. You should be grateful." "I am," Jason said quickly, glancing at Dad for approval. Then Victoria turned to me. Her expression changed into something between pity and quiet triumph. "Sage," she said slowly, "I know this might be difficult to hear, but you're not included in the will." I paused with my fork halfway to my mouth and looked at her. "Okay," I said calmly. Victoria blinked. "Okay," she repeated, clearly confused by the lack of reaction. "What would you like me to say?" I asked. "Well, I thought you might be upset." Mom leaned forward slightly. "You moved away," she added. "You left Colorado and never participated in the family business. It only made sense." "That's your decision," I replied simply. Silence spread across the table. This clearly wasn't how Victoria imagined the scene. She had expected tears, anger, some kind of emotional breakdown that would allow her to play the role of the generous older sister. Dad cleared his throat. "Sage," he said, "you understand why we made this decision, right?" "I understand," I replied. And I truly did. I had understood for years. I understood when I overheard Dad telling his business partner that daughters were expensive obligations. I understood when graduating at the top of my class barely earned a nod of approval. I understood when I started my architecture firm in Portland and Mom called it a cute little hobby. "You're taking this surprisingly well," Mom said suspiciously. "Why wouldn't I?" I asked. Victoria leaned forward slightly, narrowing her eyes. "You're not planning to challenge the will, are you?" "No," I said honestly. Dad visibly relaxed. "Good. Because the will is airtight." I nodded slowly. "I know." Then I took a sip of water and added calmly, "By the way, I live at Grandma's estate now." The silence that followed was absolute. Dad's fork clattered loudly against his plate. Mom froze mid-sip. Jason's mouth literally dropped open. And Victoria went completely still. "What?" Dad finally managed. "Grandma's estate," I repeated calmly. The 6-bedroom house in Evergreen. The one on 23 acres. Victoria's voice trembled. That house is worth millions. According to the last appraisal, I said, a little over 3 million. Mom stared at me in disbelief. Catherine would never do that. She did, I said gently, 14 months before she passed away.